It's kind of interesting when you think that the first film came out in 2016 and both Ben Affleck and Barenthal's careers have changed drastically.
Ooh, that's a hot mug, guy.
Hey guys, this is my review for The Accountant 2. I was a very big fan of the first film. For me, I thought it was a really intuitive and creative take on the idea of a savant being also a weapon. The idea that not only is his skill with math and fundamental physics and figuring out how things work, can also be coordinated and used in terms of lethal tactics and weapon play. I thought it was a really cool idea, genius creative take on a idea that sometimes had been done before, but to be honest, not as respectfully done. Sure, you had to do a little bit of suspension of disbelief, but I felt like the film was trying to be as respectful with the idea as it could be, as well as giving a really cool narrative. Of course, the other aspect of the film that I really enjoyed was the personal character drama that Ben Affleck did. This is one of his favorite characters that he's ever done in film, and there's a reason why. Every time you're seeing how he deals with things, both with interacting with people, how he deals with his pain and whatnot at home, and just his own personal struggles, I thought that was really great. And also the additional twist of John Barenthal being his brother at the very end was a really cool idea. I thought that the whole first film is a fantastic action thriller film. The second one somewhat feels like a buddy comedy.
Welcome to the Boise Romance Festival.
I feel like everything that the screenwriter for this film put into the first film, he literally did. He didn't really have an idea for a second one, but they had tossed around the idea of doing a second one for so long. Gavin O'Connor, the director of the film, really enjoyed it, and he wanted to do it, so did Ben. And you really do feel like they kind of just came up with an idea and they went with it, because the whole savant thing is kind of absent, if not a little bit corny.
What do you mean you reverse engineered our algorithms?
And generating a predictive model for the most effective answers, which I provided.
This film has Ben Affleck and his brother teaming up to figure out what happened to J.K. Simmons' character, who was killed in this seemingly shootout. But it turns out there's a lot more to it. There's some conspiracies with trafficking, Mexican cartel, as well as other violent savants. Now, admittedly, this part is probably the bit that's going to make most people go, all right, this is a bit ridiculous. Whereas the first film really did try to kind of give you a reasonable way in terms of how they could establish it, how they could explain it, how it could work. The second one's kind of like, let's just have more of it. We won't really kind of explain how. And that might be the detractor for it. However, this film, while not like the first one, it does have a major benefit, and that is Barenthal and Ben Affleck whenever they're sharing the screen. Anytime these two are on screen at the same time is phenomenal. It feels so organic. Ben is able to do this character again with pretty fantastic ease. Barenthal, I would almost say, is playing a lighthearted version of the Punisher, because every time there was in a fight scene, I was expecting him to start going like he does as the Punisher, but he doesn't. He has a pretty great portrayal of his character in this one, and he's just trying to deal with a brother who is absent both in person as well as abroad, and I like their interactions. Barenthal really holds this movie up between both the touching parts, the funny parts, which there actually are quite a bit of jokes in this movie that I laughed at, as well as some of the action-orientated bits. Now, I will say that the action of this film is not as strong. There's not as much of it. And when it does happen, it does feel a little bit rudimentary. It's not as intuitive, I feel, as the first one. For instance, one of my favorite scenes from the first film was this sniper scene. Him having this absolute incredible precision, taking out these guys, and then this fight scene with a belt and a knife. There's nothing that's that unique in terms of creative choreography in this film, but it's still a decent romp. Overall, I feel like The Accountant 2 is the serial book version of The Accountant, whereas the first film or book or whatever in any kind of franchise or any kind of establishment like this is the one that really establishes a lot. It lays down a lot of the groundwork, and it gives you a really cool premise and a cool backstory. The second one is, okay, you have these two, now just another situation, but we're not going to do anywhere near as much character development. That's what The Accountant 2 feels like. It's not a bad movie. It's pretty much just entertaining. It's definitely a discount Tuesday kind of film. I would say it's worth it to go see the theater for that. But overall, I'm going to give The Accountant a 4 out of 7. That's my review for it. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. Have you guys seen it yet? What did you guys think of the first one? I really like the first one. I rewatched my review, which is now, oh my God, 8 years old. But I still feel to this day that I really enjoy this movie. I love the concept of it, and I love how it took something that could have been absolutely ridiculous and disrespectfully handled, but it did it so well, at least for me. But again, curious to see what you guys would say. If you guys like this review, leave a like, and if you're interested in more, subscribe. Till then, see you guys next time.